We're just waiting for the camera to come on.
There you go.
Good evening. Welcome to the Georgetown School Committee meeting. The meeting of Thursday, October 25th, 2012 is now called to order. First item on our agenda is a consent agenda, which includes the approval of regular session minutes 10-11-12, public relations minutes of 10-5-12, public relations minutes of 10-16-12, acceptance of warrants 17V13 and 16P13. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Cole has a replacement today. Cam Durkee is replacing him.
I can't.
Hi.
So usually Cole just, did he tell you, but he
Yeah.
just kind of walks us through what's going on.
So October is anti-bullying month. So right now we're doing kind of like a awareness and like noticing kids doing good things for one another. We're calling it the Royal Citizen Program, and that's what student council is here to talk to you about tonight. So I'll just touch on that for a sec. All the kids who play sports were really excited the Triple E ban was lifted. I know,
Parents are too.
I know a lot of people are happy not to be going to Haverhill anymore, and they're back on their own fields and running. The drama club has been holding auditions for the past 2 days for Guys and Dolls, and that's taking off. That's doing good. I know Miss Donovan's really excited to get that rolling.
Okay.
When is that likely? When it's showing? When is the?
Is it
do we know?
February?
It's usually February, March, isn't
Taylor
it?
Reel says it's February.
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 Okay. Thank you, Taylor.
The girls cheerleaders are at their first competition tonight, so we're all rooting for them. I know the girls soccer team is something. Girls soccer team, if they like tie or win this game, they're going on.
Today?
Yes.
Okay.
They're going on to something. I think Andrew knows.
The tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, win tonight, go to the tournament. Sorry, not well informed. Or tie.
They
Thank
need
you,
one
Ms. Luce.
point.
So it's basically
They
they
need
need
one
a point.
point.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's great.
I know the school store is now online, so I don't know how many people know about it, but right in the cafeteria, the Blue Crew Superstore, all the Royal apparel is in there. Anything you really could want for the Blue Crew items, Georgetown items is all in there now, and that's online. Mr. Carl Norloff, he has a site called Rebo, and so Miss Marchetti helped us get onto that, and so now we're promoting all these items, and everything's online. So instead of coming in, because our hours are really not that well right now, you can just get online. You can pay by check, come in and get your stuff, or you can pay with a credit card right online.
Ms. Marchetti wants to come to the following school committee
Okay.
meeting with her students to talk more about what Cam's
Okay.
introducing
So right now
here.
people can go to Rebo
Yep.
to access it. Okay.
Or you can just Google it, Georgetown Blue Crew
Can
Superstore.
you get it through the school website yet?
Yep, we have.
Okay.
You go right to the school website page, and there should be the Royals insignia, the circle with the horse inside. You click right on that, and it'll bring you right to the site. We have new items too. We have sweatshirts, sweatpants, tech shirts. I know a lot of people like those. I actually have the sweatshirt right here too. I like it. It's comfortable.
Miss Marchetti does a great job with
Miss
you guys.
Marchetti's really excited with this.
Yeah, she's very excited. We've been wanting to do this for a very long time.
Yeah. That's
All right. Great.
what I can think of right now. That's pretty important.
Well, you forgot one little important thing. This Saturday,
Oh, this Saturday,
cross country.
cross country.
Country.
This Saturday, cross country is going to Bradley Palmer in Topsfield, and we're competing in the Cows, which is the Cape Ann Leagues.
Yeah.
All the other teams that we face this year, we're going to be competing at once, and we did pretty good last year, and we're hoping to do just as good and even better the same.
And then do you go to states?
Then we go to states.
Depending upon your time, you go to states
Yep.
beyond.
That's excellent.
Then 2 weeks from Cows, we go to States, which is in Rentham this year. Franklin Park's under construction. So I know Mrs. Blight's really excited for that.
I don't think I have to worry about that. But thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Wonderful.
If the committee doesn't mind, I just want to sidestep to do a special presentation.
Great.
If that's all right. So
Yep.
we're just gonna move that up. So Coach Spur, if you want to come up.
First of all, thank you for letting me come.
You're welcome.
Those of you that don't know me, I'm Coach Justin Spur, varsity baseball coach here at the high school. And this year, I would like to personally thank the school committee, Ms. Jacobs, Mr. Lucia, Mr. Prescott, and Mr. DeFranco for giving me the opportunity to coach the team to a state title, first one in school history. I would like to also announce tonight that each player will be receiving their rings at the halftime of the November 10th game. So please, as many people show your support, we'll be presenting them one by one to each player. Tonight, I would like to make a special presentation from myself to Mrs. Jacobs. Mrs. Jacobs,
nice.
you know, she came to a lot of games, and I've worked at some schools in the area, and you don't see
nice.
you don't see the superintendent of all people at any sporting events, but she was there throughout the season when we were playing at home. She followed us throughout the entire tournament, and then for a superintendent to come to a banquet is definitely unheard of. So at this time, I would like to present Mrs. Jacobs with the pendant that she chose. Each player will get a ring. Each coach got a ring. Mr. Lucia, Mr. Prescott, and Mr. DeFranco will get a ring, but Mrs. Jacobs
Thank you, Justin.
chose the
I
pendant.
appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Let me see how I get this open. Oh, isn't that beautiful? So it's a pendant,
That's nice.
and
We had
I need my
Yeah.
young eyes here.
She will. Okay.
So each person will get a ring, and she chose the pendant, which is the top part of the ring, that reads Georgetown High School 2012 State Champs. What she was referring to engraving is what I specially engraved. It reads First State Championship in School History, June 12th, 2012.
That was awesome.
Great.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Justin.
very much.
I appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's very special. I appreciate it.
Here's some tissues.
It's always fun to have something exciting.
Oh,
And
I didn't
to
expect
catch you
that.
off guard.
But yeah, you don't catch me off guard too often, Ann, I have to say. Thank you very much.
So we're just gonna go back to the regular agenda.
That was special.
So next up is public comment. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on any item that's on the agenda this evening? Okay. Next are public agenda items. Are there any other, does anyone want to speak on anything that's not on the agenda? Is that what that?
Well, we had that.
Yeah, oh, we had
conversation.
this conversation. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Okay,
we're
next up is, we're gonna talk about the High School Student Council Anti-Bullying Initiative. So how did,
Well, they can all just,
If you
whoever's
guys all
here,
wanna-
I'm not sure who's here, come on up.
so from Student Council, if you wanna come up and,
Yep.
there's two chairs here,
Yeah,
so
we
you
have a
might
couple,
wanna.
we have a couple here.
Is that great? So nice.
Very nice.
Right.
Thank you so much.
No, I
There's a
think
couple in the
that's it.
front, there you go. All right.
No, it's right here, the Student Council. So welcome.
Welcome.
If you wanna just introduce yourself so that we
Yep.
know.
I'm Christina Giovino. I'm Taylor Real.
I'm Ryan Bahar.
Nice to meet you.
All right, the floor is yours.
It's all yours.
So October is Anti-Bullying Month, as Cam already said, and so every year we've done something to just stop bullying, and this year we thought it'd be a good idea to try something that would not try to stop bullying by encouraging positive behavior towards other students. So every week we have a box in front of the main office, and if somebody sees somebody that does something like courteous or nice, they can submit their name into the box, and we recognize all those names every Friday. So
Yeah, we've had a few really good examples of citizenship that have come about. Thomas Mulligan, who's a junior, I believe that while he was in Boston, he this is way beyond the Georgetown community too, which is what's so good about it. He carried a stroller for a person in the T or something like that. And we also, last week's winner, Rachel Jean, who was a sophomore, she's really kind to children, and she's very helpful to younger children, and we just like to recognize that.
So how do you select? Or, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in.
Well, anyone can put anyone's name into the box, and then we look at all the names and see what each person did, and then we go from there. I don't really hear them because my classroom's on the 3rd floor, so every once in a while I get the announcements.
Okay.
So part of why we want to feature the students is because, you know, one of our mission statements talks about the importance of students caring about their community and their world and figuring out ways to sort of figure out their place and their role. And so student council is one student group. There are many student groups at the high school that also take on the same kind of challenge. But we're trying to just feature examples of real life examples of students making a difference in their world. And, you know, so I always think it's great for them to come forward, not only for the committee's benefit, but because this is televised, it's also nice for the community to see the quality of the students at all of our schools. So it is great for you all to come. Now, would you do one a week? Is that?
No, everybody, we read through all of the stories, and everybody who was nominated we put on our student council board. And then, but then we have one Royal Citizen of the Week.
Got it.
And we put their name and their story that the person whoever nominated them submitted.
So do people that got nominated that don't get selected also know they got nominated?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you guys see this at another school, or?
No, it was actually our advisor, Miss Donovan's idea, and so, yeah, we really like it.
Great idea.
How many do you have each week, would you say?
I would say that the unfortunate thing is that since it's high school and not everyone takes it seriously, we do get a lot of submissions that really do not reflect what we're trying to seek out. Like, some of them are really funny. Some are a little obnoxious and they're not appropriate. But it's good that we do receive a few. Yeah. What can you expect? We do receive a few genuine submissions. I would say we probably have around 10 to 15 really good submissions, and those are the ones, their names, the winners of those, like, they get read over the intercom, and then we do recognize the Royal Citizen of the Week and we say their story.
That's great.
And do you try to select different students every week? I mean, can the same student earn it more than once, or within
Yeah.
a certain time period, or?
Yeah, we have selected people more than once, but there are different people every week, so.
Yeah, and the good thing about it is it's people from all grades in the high school, so it just shows that, like, not just like one grade is like trying to do it, but everyone is recognizing, like, the goodness of it. So
Great.
Fantastic. Great program.
Well, and obviously it's not just for anti-bullying month,
Right.
that you're obviously trying to set up this culture, right? Yeah. So I think that's important. But because it is anti-bullying month, it is a good opportunity to bring it back into the forefront. Make sure everybody understands that. Mr. Lucia's favorite expression that I really love is we're creating a culture where bullying can't survive.
Great.
That's our goal.
Thank you for
Thank
taking
you.
the
Thank you
time.
very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. It's always nice to see the good things that are happening in the
Yes,
schools.
absolutely.
It
And
is,
so, and we're,
absolutely.
We're trying to do it every.
get every school to come in. So we're looking for
Yeah.
Pembroke and Pearlie.
Yeah.
And the middle school as well.
Turns, yeah.
Yep.
We'll take turns.
And they'll all be a little different because the ages are so different. All right, next up is a senior celebration fundraising approval. I don't, thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Jill Kennedy.
Yep.
And I've never done this before, so
It's quite all.
It's
I did an
painless.
outline of what we're planning on doing.
Okay.
It's for the senior celebration that is overnight, safe, substance-free event that happens before graduation, put on by the parents of the seniors for the senior class. We're asking for permission for current fundraisers we have planned. The Steve Walker hypnotist, that usually comes every year. A gift card fundraiser. There's been some, from last year's celebration committee, leftover scarves and blankets and things like that we're hoping to sell it on election day. And then also, if we could get a blanket permission for the rest, for future fundraisers, and I actually, printed out, if you'd like to see them, what they are. Texas Roadhouse, Family Night, Nikki's Roast Beef, Riley's House of Pizza, Dinner Night, Fuddruckers Family Dinner Night, maybe raffles, things like that. And I was under the impression that if we got a blanket approval of those things, of, general fundraising, that Mr. Lucia signs off on it, and you don't have to go before the school committee every single time.
You just have to make the raffles, you just have to make sure that you follow.
And
the-
Ellen Trigilio, who's the chairperson, went to town hall today to get
Right,
the
you gotta
permission
work
for
through
the
town hall.
raffles.
Yeah.
Perfect. As long as you can follow that protocol and just
Mhm.
coordinate with Mr. Lucia or any of the other building principals. If you're gonna be soliciting, like, if you're doing something at Pembroke, you talk to Dr. Tanner.
Mhm.
And then if anything at the middle high school, you just coordinate with the two principals.
Yep. And also, I wasn't sure about the flyer. Does that need to also be approved?
That comes through my office. So
Mrs. Jacobs.
Laura will make sure, and we have an approval process.
Okay.
Now, did you run all these things by Mr. Lucia because,
I sent the permission forms to each school.
okay, because the reason I'm asking is sometimes what happens is there are student groups, and there are a lot of groups at the school that fundraise. So we want to make sure that we're not bombarding the
Conflicts.
kids
Yep.
and the parents with a million fundraisers. It's a great activity, a great cause, but we do want to make sure we temper that and
Yep.
balance it with the number of things we do. And you have to, coming to the committee, part of it is if you're soliciting students and staff, are you doing that during the day? Are you asking them to sell tickets at lunch, or are you selling tickets at lunch? Or is it all sort
Like
of
for the
outside fundraising?
hypnotist, when are you
For the
selling those?
hypnotist, I believe that it's gonna be, the committee will all have tickets, and then there'll be a contact person to get tickets.
Okay, so, well,
kids
they're
aren't.
not selling, the kids aren't
So the
selling
students
them.
won't be going to school and trying to sell tickets to other students.
Now, that night is a school committee night, that November 15th. I've never been. I heard it's really fun.
Hypnotist.
It's hysterical. I went last year for the first time, and it was really, really funny.
Oh, that's too bad.
So we're hoping to sell it out,
It usually is sold out, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
usually very popular.
very close to being sold out, so hopefully this year they can sell all the tickets.
So the only thing I just want to make sure, because I know the fundraising is part of it. These evening things that you're doing, is it like a certain percentage of the money that gets raised goes back to the
Right.
school? So, okay,
You'd probably mention when they give you your bill, from Georgetown,
okay,
and then I think
Okay.
somewhere around 10% would go to the.
okay, so
So,
that's not considered.
no, that's not our, I mean, that's not something.
Yeah, like the
that's-
Fuddrucker
yeah,
nights
that's
and all that,
kind of a
yeah.
community night, that wouldn't be
No,
anything.
the big thing would be a future,
raffles.
the raffles.
Mm-hmm.
That would be what we would have to focus on.
And when are you doing the raffles?
She doesn't have, that's future, no time frame.
Well, that's probably gonna be done the night of these restaurant meetings, right? That's when you would do, like, at Fuddruckers,
Right.
you'd have like a raffle
Might have a
there.
table with a raffle there, yeah.
But as
So-
long as
so
the
maybe-
permit's filled
yeah,
out.
yeah, one of the things that I've really been trying to coordinate, and we've been working with the GEF and the PTA, is so that we're not all competing with one another. So we've been trying to organize it so certain things don't happen in the same month.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
I
asking you
know
what the
they're
time
aware
frame
of the
is.
music auction. 'Cause there
Yes.
were certain things we didn't do because we knew that the music
Right,
auction was
right,
coming up.
Right. So maybe you can just check in with us as to what we know is already happening, so that we don't add more conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if the committee approves the fundraisers in
We
in
can approve it,
principle,
and then
we can
you need to
coordinate.
coordinate with the superintendent and the building principal.
Yeah, I really feel like Mr. Lucia needs to be involved in that too.
Right.
Okay, all right, that sounds fine.
So, just so I'm clear, anything in the future will run by you and Mr. Lucia?
Well, are you thinking you're gonna do things other than what you've got on that list? Cause I thought you said that that was kind of your you were looking for a blanket
Right,
approval.
and this is basically what I've been given so far of what the ideas were.
So you'd approve that.
Yeah.
So I
So
would
we-
approve the
We
that
can
list.
approve this list as presented, with the caveat that she coordinates with the superintendent's office and Mr. Lucia.
What is the senior trip? This, or what are
Oh,
you
we
planning?
usually-
It's a
It's
secret.
surprise.
Secret.
How much money do you usually, how much money does it cost?
Depending on how well the fundraisers go, from what I understand, it's anywhere from 100 to 150 for the parents after the fundraising.
After the fundraising.
Yeah, but Ellen Trujillo's a pretty spunky gal, so I think we might do a little better this year.
That's good.
All right.
All right. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve the senior celebration fundraisers as presented.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Good luck with it.
So you're all set.
Yay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for organizing it and working so hard on it.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that's gonna go through, otherwise we can redo the motion.
Redo it?
No, it just, I didn't add the caveat that coordinate through
Okay.
Mr. Lucia.
Well, you mentioned it
Yeah.
out loud, so
Yeah.
if the committee has no problem with you, we can add that.
It,
Doesn't change
can
your
Laura
vote.
add that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Next up is the close-up trip request with Mr. Hastings.
Bless you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, for coming.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm Rick Hastings. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Social Studies Department Chair and have been a longtime and frequent coordinator of the close-up trip. We've not run it for several years due to kind of financial constraints. The program is somewhat expensive, but we're hoping to get it running again today. So if you'd like, I can explain the program in some general detail and then whatever questions you have. Close-Up is a non-profit, nonpartisan organization in DC. Their main mission is to bring students from across the U.S. to Washington for a week-long civic awareness program. The way I would describe it simply is a kind of a behind-the-scenes look at how government works. They, along with their program group, are put into a fairly intensive week of workshops and seminars and discussion groups, debates. They travel, they see a lot of sites and have kind of, working, traveling workshops. There's a really concerted effort on the part of the program to bring in Washington insiders, and they vary in terms of levels of importance, but they're all interesting. So you'll have congressional staffers that would come through, or people that work for a lobbyist group or a think tank, and they'll do discussions. There's often one of the highlights is a debate between a conservative and a liberal, so the kids get a sense of what those two ideologies look like. And so one of the things I guess I want to stress is that it's highly academic, it's highly informative. The kids are going sun up to sunset. They've got them highly kind of structured. The program is tight from kind of, morning to evening. And there is this definite academic benefit. The other thing I'll stress, though, is there's an amazing cultural benefit. The kids are getting on a plane. Airport security is just one of my most enjoyable things, to try to get at least 10 kids through airport security and then navigate the bus and or the metro. And it's just an eye-opening experience to take them to a big city, to have them stay in a hotel. They get a roommate of their choosing from Georgetown, but then they're paired with two kids from a different state, and it could be anywhere. We've had some really interesting kind of pairings in the past. And what's nice with social media is kids have stayed in touch. They've made kind of lifelong friends, and the smart ones make them with the kids from Hawaii, and, the really warm states. So there's a social component. There's a cultural component. They do obviously see a lot of the monuments and museums, but it's not there just for sightseeing. It's there to get an historic background and a discussion going about, what the monument might have in terms of kind of ideas behind it. They'll have a Capitol Hill Day, and that's the day that I act as the tour guide, and I will take them to, sessions in the House, sessions in the Senate. We'll look at committee meetings. The Supreme Court is right across the street, the Library of Congress. So they have a really kind of exciting experience getting to see Congress in action. As I say, exciting. Sometimes it's just one guy on the floor with a microphone, but it's still an eye-opening experience in that sense. There's often a theater evening. When they're lucky, it's the Kennedy Center. Other times they'll travel to maybe Ford's Theater or a different theater for a less high-profile kind of event. So, all in all, it's just this great academic, social, and cultural experience. And again, one of the things I stress, because you have a body of kids that are traveling in DC, is how well supervised and structured it is. It's they're very diligent about monitoring the kids in the hotel. There's a security official that basically sits in the hallways at night in a nice cushy chair, but that's what they're there for. They're very good about making sure that when you're supposed to be in your room, you're in your room, and boys aren't going in girls' room, and vice versa. I am with them all the time that they travel, and I lived in Washington. I went to school there and lived there, if you can include school, 10 years. So I kind of know how to navigate it, and we have a nice experience in that sense. So it's a very any kind of student misbehavior too, the students are sent home. So it's one thing I try to really stress for the students is this is an intensive academic experience. You're here it's going to be harder than being at school. And if you're not doing the right things, then you get sent home and you have to come back to the school committee and explain why you came back at their expense. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I gave you information with dates and costs and deadlines and things like that. What I'll tell you is that I had an initial meeting. I have 10 students that I know about from the initial meeting who expressed an interest. I need probably more, because out of that 10, I'm not sure I'll get all those 10. So I would tell you that I'm here seeking approval for it, but I will tell you that it's probably 50-50 at this point, whether I'll get.
Do you have to have 10?
I don't have to have 10, but this is where you get into this real kind of briar's nest, because for every student that drops, it increases their cost.
Oh, sure.
I need 10 so that they pay for me in terms of my flight and hotel. And so if one student drops, then a percentage of my cost kicks in, and it basically drives every kid's cost up. And then you get into that kind of sticky situation where a kid is only going if it costs X and now it's Y, and so then they drop out.
Sure.
So usually what I tell students is you need to be just prepared for the maximum cost, and if you can't do it, you can't do it. And any fundraising that we might do, any kind of Rotarian group that gives us donations, don't make that part of your considerations. Treat that as a refund, because to be honest with you, once I do my fundraising, it doesn't always come in time. You don't necessarily know what you're going to get and when you're going to get, and so I will reimburse students as opposed to using it as a condition of them going.
Who is eligible, and what is the deadline to sign up?
Well, any junior or senior
To apply.
any junior or senior is eligible, and the one my only screening process is that you need to be in good academic standing, and you need to be going on the trip for the right reasons. And we have a conversation about that. I have multiple meetings, so it's just not a good fit if a student is going thinking it's a week off.
Right.
Way too expensive for that too. So we want to make sure that someone is not getting overwhelmed in terms of their academics. So we look at you're away for a week, you're responsible for the work that you missed. Is this something that you can handle? So we look for, again, good academic standing and right intentions. But otherwise, it's wide open to any junior or senior that's interested. I forgot the second part of the question.
What's the deadline?
The deadlines.
It said in here, February.
They want us in. So often I can
Sounding like
kind
it's
of,
sooner
there's a $300 deposit that's due in February. And I will probably use that as a way to kind of hold us there. I will tell you though, if I had 9 kids and I still needed one more, I can call the program instructor and say, I need another week. I'm looking for one more kid. They want us to go very much. So the deadline sometimes will shift if it means us going. But I find that I don't want to drag the process out either. That you have to make a decision in a reasonable timely manner. So
And
I
you
would
can't
say
take sophomores?
I could. different dynamic, different chemistry. What I find too is that if you,
To open it up to more.
it would, but you'd still probably be running it, you know, what I'd like to do is be able to run it on an annual basis.
Sure,
So what ends up
yes.
happening is you use up all your available pool in
That's true.
a
In
given
one
year.
year.
Yeah.
That's very true.
And then you
yes.
wouldn't have the next kind of group to feed in. And they haven't had certain courses, I think, that
That's what
makes the
Yeah.
trip a little
That would
more
help them
meaningful.
appreciate and understand.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it,
Got it.
juniors are typically in the US too. They've had government as a background. There is a maturity factor. I think they get a benefit from it. It looks
Yeah.
good on a college transcript.
Mm-hmm.
Their schedules are, you know, they're old enough that they're managing their schedules well. I often get more juniors than I do seniors, to be honest with you. Cam will tell you, he's interested too, so.
And 9 of your friends?
He's recruiting.
Okay,
recruiting, right?
He's recruiting.
All right.
If someone does have to come back for whatever reason,
Right.
how do they come back and someone go with them?
We haven't had, I mean, if there was an event where a student got involved in something and was sent back because the program decided that
Or was sick?
they weren't a match, that, you know, what I would assume is if they get sick, there is an insurance policy that you can kind of take out to protect against catastrophic kind of illness and protect you against change of flight fees and things like that. So finances, I think that's, you know, taken care of. In terms of like supervision, my plan in that case would be to take the student to the airport. I am in charge of them on travel days. I'm in charge of them on Capitol Hill Day. The days that they are not under my supervision, they're under the supervision of their program instructor. My assumption would be that if it was a day that they had to go home early because there's an illness, I would make arrangements so that I would take the student to the airport, would have to make some sort of arrangement with flight officials and then parents to make sure that that kid was always in constant contact with an adult.
And you
There
can
is a nurse
travel-
on staff too, by the way. They do have medical staff in every hotel that programs stay in, so that, you know, if it's anything, they can pretty much take care of it. But if it's something major and the student needs to go home, there is contingency plans for that.
And most major airlines let children 14 and over travel alone,
Right.
unaccompanied, so.
Right.
Sounds like a great program.
Those sound like
And we haven't done it for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's just
Oh, you've come before us to try to get,
It's
to get approval.
$1,600 and,
not
you know,
inexpensive.
no, and it's, we have a more selective pool in a sense. It's not Florida, it's not Disney, it's Washington DC and it's government. So you're talking kind of highly expensive with a smaller group, and you have other competing trips. Band is going to New York, so I got to compete with them.
Sounds fabulous, though.
Yeah, it's when it happens, it's a fantastic trip. And I'll be honest with you, I'll probably be, you know, if it doesn't happen this year, I've got juniors lined up that I will continue to lean on and tell them to get summer jobs, so that 9 can do it when it comes senior year.
Great.
My only question is if it didn't happen versus did happen, would we need to do anything with further school committee notification?
No.
No,
We
no,
approved
you've
the trip.
approved the trip.
And
We
then-
would approve the trip as presented now,
Okay.
and then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it
Okay.
does happen, you're covered.
The only other question I had too is if I were to do some initial fundraising, if I were to kind of ask Kiwanis and Knights of Columbus and other Rotarian groups for funds, and they did donate, and the trip didn't happen, I think I would have to communicate with them, do you want the money to stay within an account for next year's group, or
You would.
do you want a refund?
And Joan could track that through her
Okay.
office
I would,
and work
when you,
with you.
when you request their support, I would tell them, I
Yeah.
would be right up front with them and
Okay.
say, you know, I'm trying to get 10 kids. If I don't get 10 kids, we may not go.
Right.
But my goal is to try to go next year. If
Right.
not, and is it, you know, are you okay with that, leaving
Right.
that money there? And then
So I can put
we'd
that
set
right
it
in the
up on a
letter and
student
not-
activity account or
Good.
donation account.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
All right.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the close-up trip request as presented by Mr. Hastings.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
Opposed?
much.
Thank you, Rick.
Motion carries.
Have a
Thank
great
you very
evening.
much. Good luck.
Thank you.
I hope you introduce them to the art of compromise.
We make a definite point of it, and I just love this. That was democracy in action right there. Look at that. Look at that amount of compromise.
Thank you.
Great night.
Just don't go to DC that week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And stay in the hotel where the closest kids are.
Okay.
Okay, next up is
Mary
the Quebec
Hayes.
trip
Come on up,
trip
Mary.
request with Mrs. Hayes.
Good evening.
So Quebec instead of France
Hello.
this year.
Yes, Quebec instead of France. Thank you for hearing me again. You all know me. I'm Mary Hayes. And France was just fabulous. I'll never forget it. I know the students will never forget it. February 2011 and April 2012. And it was about $2,500 per person. We had about 11 students each time. And it was wonderful. Everything went really, really well. But I felt for the students who couldn't afford the, $2,500. So I began to think about Quebec, which costs a little under 500, and it may be even less, because I'm amazed at the interest. And I have up to, between 50 and 60 signing up at the moment, pending approval.
Oh, wow.
And it may increase. And it's French 1, French 2, French 3. They're all extremely interested. It would be leaving Friday morning, February 15th, and returning Monday night. And the travel company generally does Thursday through Sunday night, but we have Monday off because it's right just at the beginning of February vacation. So I thought that might be, if they could switch it, and they did. They're fine with doing Friday morning through Monday night. And there's a lot going on. I always think of it as the trip abroad as being the science lab of the foreign language classroom, because it is complete immersion. And Quebec City is a wonderful city. It's not just North American French. I really sense from my experience there, it's really French, and they will hear French all the time, pretty much. And there's lots of cultural activities planned. And we would travel by bus.
See that, yeah.
Arriving at about 2 o'clock on the Friday and returning, I think, about 10 o'clock on the Monday night. The cost is quite good. There's great interest. The company would pay for one chaperone per 10 students.
Oh,
Okay. That's great. Thank you for thinking of, thank you for generating the interest so that more can go and not have to be as
was gonna
concerned
comment
about
on
the
that.
cost. That's fantastic.
Yes, actually, there was just an explosion of response when I mentioned Quebec. I think they thought it might be France again, which hopefully we'll have down the road.
Nice. No, it's very nice.
Excellent.
does, sounds like
Anyone have any questions, comments?
I guess I just want to echo that too, that I'm really appreciative of recognizing the issue of cost and bringing that into play for this one. I think that's great.
And can you tell us a little bit about what the students would do in Quebec? Would they go to a play or events?
Yeah,
or-
they have a bunch of, they have a whole list of
okay.
what they're gonna visit.
Yeah.
Including some historical experiences also, that we're going to go to the Plains of Abraham, and there'll be, some talk about history, Canadian American history, all those types of things. And maple syrup tasting.
Oh, excellent. Very good.
That's fantastic.
That's
Do you worry about getting chaperones, or do you?
Not yet.
Okay, all right, no, good to know.
Mr. Lucia and I will be discussing it in the next month or so.
Okay, great.
And so you'll be fundraising too, you list out the fundraisers that you're planning?
Yes,
News for dance.
again, pending approval by Mr. Lucia, and also not, taking from any of the other organizations that already use some of those fundraisers. In the past, we did some restaurant fundraising, and that was safer because we knew we weren't, taking from other organizations. So we may go that route depending on interest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the Quebec trip as presented by Mrs. Hayes.
So moved.
Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck.
Getting this all
Thank
together.
you.
Lots of fun.
Does sound fun.
Yeah,
That
all
would be
right.
a lot of fun.
Moving right along to the superintendent's report for the National Merit Commended Student Awards.
Yes, we have some students and families in the audience this evening, and I thank them very much for taking the time to come this evening. it's always great when we can recognize student achievements. And so one of the things that I wanted to bring forward is we have several students who were elected as commended students by the National Merit Scholarship. The students will be eligible for this distinction. Each student has to reach a very high scoring index on the PSAT exams, which they took in October of 2011. And just so you know, approximately 1.5 million juniors took the PSAT in October 2011. And their overall score needed to be within the top 34,000 scores nationwide, which is no small accomplishment. So I want to have the students come forward. I want to give them a little certificate of achievement. And it basically says it hereby presented to, and the student's name. And then it says in recognition of being selected as a committed student by the National Merit Scholarship Program. And it's signed. So I'm going to have some folks come up. And I just noticed something, Laura, that we might just have to correct. This right here. But we'll make a change there. So Katie DeCipio, come on up. I also want to recognize Katie was one of the candidates for the Superintendent's Award also this year, and had a wonderful opportunity to talk with her. And I included some information in your packet about Katie. So I just wanted you to know Katie she's remind me, where are you in the class? You're third. She's third in the class. So very, very
Congratulations.
Okay, then we have Matthew Wise. Come on up, Matthew. Congratulations, Matthew. Thank you very much. You're welcome. James Pearson. There you go, James. Andrew Nowak. And I also want to let you know, Andrew was also a candidate for the Superintendent's Award, and Andrew's second in the class. So very exciting. And last but certainly not least, Paige Fournier. Is Paige here this evening? I guess not. Okay, so we will make sure Paige gets this. And then I'll move right on, if you don't mind, Mrs. Blythe, to the next award, which is the Superintendent's Award. So every year, every superintendent in the state has to select a winner for the Superintendent's Award. It's a award in sort of name only. It's not a monetary award or anything like that. But it's probably, as I say to the students that I talk to, the hardest decision I make all year, because I get to talk with some very talented students, and I could give the award to any one of them for lots of different reasons. Cool. You know, I always leave those meetings feeling very excited and energized and reminded of why I do this work, because it is about what happens for kids, throughout their educational career. And the students I had a chance to talk to are all students who took full advantage not only of the academic part of their career in high school, but also in their civic and social activities as well. And each of the students allowed me to put their credentials in your packet, so I think that's always helpful, so you can take a look at the kind of courses that these children take, and the list of activities, clubs, sports. They're very busy people, and they make us very, very proud. So as I said, it's a very difficult decision. So this year, it is my pleasure. Taylor, come on up. It's my pleasure to recognize I wish you a little bit, but can you stand here for a minute while I say some very nice things about you. Taylor describes herself as very shy, but I found her to be anything but shy when I had the chance to talk with her. Instead, I found her very poised and very confident as a young woman who's got some very ambitious goals for her life. She likes to challenge herself. I think if you look at her transcript and her list of activities, you'll see that she certainly challenged herself not only academically, but also with all kinds of other ways that she contributed to her school. This is an academic award. Taylor is the first student, top student in the class this year. So she's handled obviously a rigorous caseload. Many honors, advanced placement classes, just really pushed herself. She loves science and math, right? And she plans to become a veterinarian. So she's facing 8 years of college, 8 years of college, 4 for the regular degree, right, and then 4 for to be a veterinarian. And she's hoping to go to either Tufts or WPI, but she's got some other schools she's looking at as well, because these 2 schools have very strong veterinary programs. And then in addition to her academic performance, she's a peer leader, she's a peer mentor, she's the vice president of the Student Council, a member of the National Honor Society, and the co-president of AFS. She received the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship for High Academic Achievement in MCAS, and last year she received the Presidential Award for Academic Excellence. And then obviously throughout her career at GHS, she received numerous academic excellence awards in all of the major subjects: math, history, science, research skills, art, financial literacy, and psychology. She's also a flutist, so she's got a drama interest in drama, and participates in the drama club. And she also has served as the assistant director at her children's choir at her church. So not only is she very involved in the work at the school, but also in her church and in her community. And she has volunteered for MSPCA. I gotta get that all in there. So it's really my pleasure and my honor to select Taylor for this award this year. And I think just that little bit of a bio I gave you, I think you can see that, she's a very, very deserving candidate for this award. So Taylor, I want to give you the certificate, and thank you again so much for all you do. Wow, fun.
Great. Always nice to do fun things.
Yes, it is.
Can I just say something?
Absolutely.
About that? I just want to say that when I looked at they were 4, right?
Yeah,
The
4.
I was so impressed with them, with all 4 of them. I just couldn't believe the academics were incredible, and then just to look in the back and see the sports and to see what they do for the community, I was very impressed. It made me so proud of these kids.
Yeah. And I also just want to make sure Sarah Grossline was also someone that I spoke with. She's not here tonight, but Sarah is also somebody I just want to recognize publicly as a student who's she's 4th in the class, and she has a very impressive record as well.
It's amazing, the great things that
Yeah.
go on in the high school and within the community. It's
Yes.
a testament to the students and their parents.
And the
And the
teachers and
Everyone within the community.
Good job.
Thank you for sharing them with us.
Thank you very much. You don't have to stay for the whole meeting unless you'd like to. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, moving right along. School reports, anti-bullying.
I think
we're
we're good.
I think we're good with that? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, any questions on the superintendent's information for the committee?
And can I just point out one quick thing, because we have some new members who won't be familiar with this report, and that is this school choice report.
Yes, that was.
So if you have any questions about that, please let us know. But this is something Laura collects the information every year about, and I think it's very informative. Talks about the sort of the tracking over time of the students that choice out and where they go, and the students who choice in and where they go, and then also looks at the private schools. And you'll notice in St. John's Prep there's a blank in 2013 just because they haven't reported. We don't know the number.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But the students who go to vocational schools, and then we even look at the homeschool students.
Okay.
So if you have any questions about it, I can certainly answer them. Otherwise, if as you look at it more closely you have questions, please let us know.
So when it says choice out,
Yes.
that's the students who are leaving Georgetown and where they're going to?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's correct. And if you look at the choice in, what's very interesting is the numbers have gone down dramatically, because remember, we haven't, as our population has moved up into the high school, we haven't taken We haven't taken
That's
students.
not for lack of students.
Oh,
who
no,
would-
it's not for lack of interest. We have a waiting
It's
list all the
capacity.
time.
Oh,
It's a
okay,
capacity
the
issue.
capacity issues
Our
that we
number
have.
of spots
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
open.
No, I know.
No,
So,
no.
that's why we
have a lot of unsolicited
I was wondering the
school
same
choice
thing, yeah.
applications every year, and we often can't accommodate. This last year, we opened up 5 kindergarten slots and 5 first grade slots only.
And that's also goes to our issue with using the
Overcrowding.
funding from the choice revolving account.
Absolutely.
you can
But I
see we
think
had
it's also
70.
I think this is something interesting for the public to
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
that as we deal with, as we talk about dealing with overcrowding at the Midland
Mhm.
High School,
That's right.
we aren't taking in students, and as we send students out, that affects our budget, right?
Yes, it does.
It does.
So
Well, actually, the way it works, Alana, is the school choice students that leave, that gets charged to the town. That's an
oh,
expense
it
to the
doesn't come
town.
to the out of the
The
school
money,
budget.
the students who
Okay.
come in, that money comes to the district.
Okay.
Does it go to our net school spending though? The school,
It-
the choice out.
It counts toward net school spending.
So it's not part of our foundation budget, which is the 13 to 15 million
Okay.
dollar operating budget, but we do a separate calculation to determine how much above that what the town contributes to the schools, and it includes like health insurance, plowing,
Sure.
things like
Okay.
that, as well as the choice out money.
Okay. Okay, great.
But I always think every year it's an interesting report.
I had a question on the warrant article language.
Mhm.
Is this what we stand up at town meeting and read?
I don't know that,
Can you-
and generally speaking, you get sort of handed a,
We didn't in the spring, that's why I wanna be
Okay.
certain that we asked Mike Farrell
Okay.
what language we need
Okay.
to use, because I stood up there and read this and they looked at me like I had 6
yeah,
heads.
like, what are you saying, right?
So
Okay,
we
let
need
me
to
write
get
myself a note on that.
the language.
Ask Mike, what specific,
And I think it's gonna be something like the first, couple sentences have to be a little different. I just don't know what they are.
okay. And this is for the school, right? Because you'll also have, based on the
We won't
fin-
be,
Do you have all of the warrant language?
we will the only one that I'm worried about for us is the school committee, article that we went to FinCom for last night and to the Board of Selectmen before. That's the only one that we have responsibility for.
Which is the new building.
And the building is going to be the school building committee, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's their committee.
But do
Right.
you have a copy of all of the warrant article language?
I don't yet,
You don't?
No.
but
I do.
I got this.
I
Oh,
asked.
That was
Maybe.
from
But
last
you
I
did.
asked for Mike
Yeah,
Farrell.
the articles are
Oh,
fine.
I didn't take it from last
and
night.
that's all fine, but we have to read something.
Well, let's see what it says here, Ann. Maybe there's
And
a,
you can't read it off that because we're missing like the first 2 sentences.
Okay.
And I don't know,
Okay.
I don't know what they are. So if you can check with Mike
we will.
It
or
might-
Beverly, probably
Well,
Mike.
this is what it says on this document that was on the table last night at FinCom.
Oh, okay, so that's probably,
That's
can
probably
you
what I
just
have.
confirm
Can we verify?
with him that
Yeah.
this is what needs to be read?
Yep. Will do.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. You can keep it if you want.
Okay.
I don't know how I ended up with it last night, but I did.
I didn't take it off the table because I didn't know if there was extra copies.
Are we talking about strategic plan? Good point, Rob.
Yeah, we'll go, we are talking about strategic plan, but I think we should go back to it and see if we can get some of this other stuff.
Cleaned up first.
Done.
That's what,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I thought we were done. Okay, so no questions on the superintendent's information, or other than what we just talked about. Financial report. Let's see, line item transfers, we have to vote. So just so you know, this, what, Joan, this is just moving the salaries around to where they need to be.
No, this was more operational.
It was operational?
Yeah, if you notice on, I did fix some salaries, but
Okay.
most of it was trying to get the tuition monies moved around.
Oh, okay, all
Because we
right.
had budgeted them at each building, and we decided to go with a district-wide special ed transportation line and a district-wide tuition outline. So I had to move all the monies around. That's why when you looked at your budget report, you saw that big negative.
Right, yeah,
on the
that's
front
what, and we
page.
were, okay, you were gonna, yeah, okay, no,
We don't like negatives.
Yeah.
no.
Bottom line is positive.
Yes, that's right. That's, we
Brackets
like
are
that.
bad. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve line item transfers numbered 83 through 118 as presented.
So moved.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Up next, monthly budget report.
Right, so as we said last month, until the transfers are voted, I can't move the money, and I may be coming back to the school committee in next month or in the month after to try to change the policy a little bit, whereas, you know, we can make certain transfers, because not being able to make the transfers produces this report every month, which I don't like to report to you. So, I'm gonna see if there's some way we can figure out something that I could make the transfers, you know. If you didn't approve the transfers, I could always make move it back, but I feel like you now are gonna wait another month
To get a
see-
report. And you understand why she doesn't like to report like this?
Correct.
Because we can't deficit spend, so this would look like we're deficit spending by 731,000.
Correct.
But it's more to align the budget to what we agreed on for reporting. But if you look at, what is it, the last page, it looks like we're, the available budget's 413,000 when we're all
Right,
said
and
done.
that's without the $250,000 warrant article.
Okay.
So,
So here we, just so that we're all clear, here we are at the end of October with 400,000 left for the rest of the year. And she's encumbered.
You're not including salaries, it's.
Right,
The
it
salaries
does.
are all set.
Salaries, the next thing I was gonna say is she's encumbered the salaries, which means
Right.
she's committed to paying them, so that's already committed. But if there's this 400,000.
that's your operational line, so that's.
Unencumbered?
It's unencumbered, but it's
But
your
it's-
you're gonna use it, it's your substitute
It's-
lines, it's $60,000 in your student activity line, which, you know, we're gonna pay advisors, we know we're gonna use it. It's your, facilities and maintenance lines where we haven't got commitments yet, but, you know, we have
We've
money.
budgeted that amount, so.
Okay, so
here
you
we-
know where it's going.
Right, but here we are at the end of October.
That's
and we
not
have-
very much money.
We have $400,000 to get us through to next June 30th.
And if the town does not approve the $250,000 expenditures that the school committee is asking for, then.
We'll have
that-
150.
Then.
Oh, no, but this
We'll-
400 is
Doesn't
already,
include that.
But
it
it's
does not
already
include that.
allocated.
But no, we need this 400 for other
You've allocated it.
yeah, it's
Right,
used.
it's, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and my point in mentioning that is that if that were to happen, then we would not have the money in the budget, because we've already committed to this other thing, so we would have to reduce some
You'd have-
things.
You wouldn't have any,
Make
hardly any
cuts.
We
money
have to
left.
You'd have to
reduce,
make
we might
cuts.
have to, we might have to.
So we have 400,000 to get us from here until June 30th.
Okay.
And most of it is committed through, different, like student activities.
Right, you know, it's sitting in a line,
Mhm.
we haven't encumbered it, I don't know if we know who all the people are yet, but we know we're gonna spend it,
Right,
so
right.
you can't really count that. So
Right.
if you deduct all the substitute lines and the student activity lines, it leaves you with very little money.
Right.
So I just want everyone to be clear on that.
I don't know if this is a fair question, but in your experience at this time of the year in a school system like ours, what,
To be honest with you, I've never worked with a budget that is this small, so it's hard for me to gauge. In my past experience, we had more money in our maintenance accounts, and unfortunately, if we got in trouble with accounts, we would hit the maintenance accounts. We don't have a lot of money in maintenance. So, and we don't have utilities on our books anymore, which, you know, could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but there's sometimes you can hit your utility accounts if you have a warm winter. We don't have any of those flexibilities.
That's gone.
I was just trying to.
So what do we have? I mean, we have this money disappears before June 30th, so then what happens?
We have to we can't
cut.
deficit spend, so we can't end the year
So,
underfunded, so we have to make cuts.
You have to lay off people.
You'd have to lay off personnel.
that's what it comes down to.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we haven't had to do that. I mean,
Nope.
the administrators, I think, are very judicious in terms of, only the essential things, but, we're asking for a little help from the town on the special ed situation, but let's say that got worse. I mean, we still have to have a source to fund that.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're being very conservative, but I think John wants to just let you know at this time of the year, this is where we are in the first quarter.
I just
And
want
it's
to
tight.
clarify that when all of these people come in here to the school committee and ask us for approval for this and approval for that, and we hand out these approvals, we're not handing out approvals for things that are in any way impacting our school budget. Is that right?
They were all self-funded, if you, yeah.
I want to make sure the public knows
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah.
that this committee sounds like we're very generous.
Yeah.
And then we say, but, oh, we don't have any money, but
Yeah.
what we're being generous with is people who are.
Yeah, it's all
funding them.
self-funded, but we also get a lot of donations, that the committee, every
Absolutely,
meeting has
yes,
donations,
we're
and without
also-
those, there's a lot of things we wouldn't be doing either, so.
Absolutely.
No, anything we approved tonight had zero budget impact
Okay.
for us.
Good question, though, because there are people, I'm sure, who want.
Good point to make.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so do you want to get into the strategic plan?
Sure, we can do that. Okay, so, a few things. The first thing, and I apologize, I didn't think to add this, but it gives you a context. This is, for the benefit, again, of everybody, and particularly the new people. When we did this process, 5 years ago now, one of the things that the group that worked on the plan did was, talked about, you know, what is the mission statement, and then what are a set of core beliefs that we want to be sure that anything we do in the district related to planning ties back into. So I give this to you because I want you to see that this is where we start, right? We start with, you know, our mission statement. This is what we are trying to achieve. And then we have a set of beliefs. So as you look through the strategic plan, you'll see, for example, when it says our curriculum should be state-of-the-art, comprehensive, and challenging for all students, you'll see references in there to a lot of curriculum initiatives. You'll see references in there to looking at the top-performing students and just investigating and making sure that we're doing what we need to and can for those students. Obviously, again, working within the constraints of the budget. It also, you know, you'll also see where it says, technology is a critical learning tool, right? So you'll notice that there's a focus area that deals with technology. So the goal here is to have everything tie back to the mission. All right? So as we heard from Mike Gilbert last night, one of the things that the school committee has a role in, and a significant role in, is making sure that the mission fits the needs of the community, and you represent the community. So if at any point there wants to be a discussion of the committee that there's a need to revisit this, you know, add anything to it, take anything out of it, that would fall within the purview of something that the school committee, you know, could certainly do. So I share it with you as this is what we work off of. This is our current, you know, statement. But obviously, you know, it can be modified, changed, or whatever. Okay? So then, so you had this significant document that we gave you last time, okay? This is a three-year plan that sometimes extends into the fourth year, because there's a lot to it. This year, when Julie and I got this started, we looked at we're trying to key everything to the state, and what the state's plans look like, because ultimately, we're gonna need to morph into that plan anyway. So what we did is we looked at a lot of the race to the top information is, you know, standards of effectiveness and district indicators that they really want everybody to kind of be operating from in a common way. So what we did is we took that list. There were how many areas were there? Was 7 areas. But we have mushed them together in a little slightly different way, but they're all accounted for in this plan. And then what we did is we also looked at our last plan and said, well, what are the things we accomplished, and then what are the things that were still needing to be done in what areas, and we combined those efforts. So that it represents sort of the continuation of the last plan and the overlay with the district, with the district plans that are required by the state. So the only change, I just want to talk you through this, because I color-coded them because I felt it was easier to talk about if they're color-coded. So you have this document which has 7 focus areas. When Julie and I sat down to look at focus area 2, which is a huge part of the plan, because it's curriculum, instruction, and assessment, which is the core of what we do in terms of instruction. there needed to, we saw that there needed to be some clarification and changes. So the green sheets, so if you imagine taking out the focus area 2 in the white document we gave you last time and substituting this whole green section, this would be focus area 2. Okay, so that explains that. And then because not everybody can really understand the plan or wants to look at all of this grid, all right? What I did is I took, and this is where you would look at the yellow sheet. What I did, obviously, and with Laura's technical expertise, we cut and pasted the focus area, what the focus area is supposed to focus on, the goal, and then just the strategies. So the yellow sheet is representing the 3-year strategies. So this would be something that would be more understandable to the public, because this is the highlights, right?
More readable.
It's more readable. But we also want you to know that the purpose of this is we work off of this.
That's the map.
That we work off of that.
Yeah.
That's the map. So then so the yellow sheet is the 3-year goals. And then we're drilling down even further, and the pink sheet, and Rob did make a good point, and I actually heard from somebody else. We were using a standard heading, but really the heading is a little confusing, because the pink sheets are what we're gonna do this year. And that's in the second column, it says 2012, 2013 action steps. But that really needs to be more prominent in the title, just so we all are aware that that's what we're doing. So it goes from the big plan to the 3-year summary to the 1-year actions. All right? And then the blue sheet is what we accomplished in the last plan that we wrote. Because it's very important when you look at this as a planning cycle. So you had goals, you had actions you did, this is what we did, and that's helping to drive the new actions. So there's some of the things in the last plan we wouldn't include again, because we consider them to be things we're already doing, we'll keep doing. Those are reflected on the blue sheet. Okay, the things that are on these other sheets are the things that are gonna be, direct actions, either this year or over the course of the next several years. And it looks like there's a lot, and there is, it's ambitious, but it clusters into a few key things. And I guess maybe if you take a look at the yellow sheet, we can just highlight just a couple of things. And the other thing, as Mike was talking about last night, we are all transitioning to this notion of SMART goals and very precise, data points. These are not as smart as they need to be, and that'll be an evolutionary process as we work through this, as we get better at writing SMART goals, because we're practicing it at our level as well. The last standard, if you look at, I guess it's leadership and governance, that kind of affects all of us. No, it's on the yellow sheet, the last page. The district will implement state mandated evaluation procedures beginning in 13-14. We are not a race to the top district, so the race to the top districts have to be doing that right now. We have to do it starting next year. So you might have remembered Mike said, well, maybe we should start this year kind of getting the school committee acclimated, really talking about the tool, maybe working on some SMART goals. We can do that. We're also negotiating right now with the teachers to talk about the language, and we'll negotiate the tool, and then the teachers will need to be trained. They'll need to write SMART goals, and then we're gonna obviously need to begin the process in September of next year. So most of focus area 7 that says the district will implement that, those are only 3 things bulleted, but those are 3 major things that have many action steps under each of them. And then the next one, the school committee administration will communicate clearly and regularly with the public. And this was something that you've all been talking about. We do have a public relations. We're trying to create a public relations communication plan. Again, no small project, but something that's really important to capture here. I really think it's important. The schools do a good job of this. We need to think about how we're going to work this through, but we really need to have a way to get a district accountability survey out to parents that in the community that really helps us again take a look at this plan and the effectiveness of what we're doing. And then I would love to see us develop a district report card. That's a task in and of itself, but many of the indicators that would be on that, we already have to report on, but there may be other indicators that the teachers think we need to report or the school committee would like, so that's an action step that we would all need to work on together. So going back to the top page here, are there any questions on any of these? And we will be reporting on this regularly. So because this is the first year and it's already October, almost November, I would suggest that we report to you in June at the end of the year this year. But what would be good is if we could get this started, really early in September for the second year goals, and then maybe have a mid-year report and then a final report. So you have a couple of reports,
Or-
even if they're just status
I would
reports.
suggest we do the report in May, or actually April, because what happens is, we talked about this last night, for the way the new members are gonna work on the committee.
Right, but again, some of we can certainly report,
I
but
think
some
we
of the
should-
actions don't conclude until the end of the year, so we've done it at the end.
The way that for this to follow with the evaluation tool, eventually, I'm not saying it's gonna
Yeah.
happen this year,
Mhm.
you're gonna wanna get it on like I'm kinda thinking, if you do your final review in April, then your year starts again in May, when the committee reorganizes.
Okay, we can take a,
And it might be something that you wanna look at to align with how the evaluation tool's gonna work.
Right.
Because like he had said that, like, it's annual, but not it doesn't have to be calendar.
Correct. Yeah, okay. So we can take a look at that and pay attention to that as well. So just for the public, we're focusing on increasing student achievement, providing all learners with a curriculum that's rigorous and aligned to state standards. We have some safety and wellness goals. And that's something that is not actually in the district the requirements from the state, but because we've put a lot of emphasis on that and we're not done with that goal, there's still work we have to do. We did continue to keep that in here. And technology and information management, again, another area that is not required in that plan, but we have some significant needs in technology and have done a lot of important work, but there's more to do. And then financial and asset management, worked with Joan on that for the 3-year goals that deal with custodial maintenance and financial development of the budget, making it more comprehensive, looking at things like Medicaid, E-rate, trying to get as much money in reimbursements as we can. So those are the financial goals. But I would be more than happy to answer any questions, or if anybody thinks of anything after the meeting at any point.
I think,
we can certainly-
based on I don't know what the committee feels, but my sense is, now that we know the color coding and how it aligns with this, can we
Put it on again?
put it on next meeting, just so that, I just want to reread it with your explanation so that I can understand what's going on.
Well, remember, it's a, we want to have, this isn't a final,
Right.
we really want people's input into it, and if there's something in there that you don't think should be in there, or something that you feel is missing, like some people might feel like maybe there should be more a communication goal with the public that maybe is not, it needs to
Right.
be added. Whatever you think needs to be added, or changed, or clarified, and then we will, once we get that set, and you get your feedback, the administrators are continuing to look at it from their end. And then we'll put it together in a binder so that you can keep track of your updates and all the things.
And if the public has concerns about the schools and they want to know whether their concerns are being addressed through these plans, what's the best
Way for them to.
way
We
for
put it
them
on
to
we have
bring
the
those
strategic
forward?
plan on the website?
We do, and we put the progress reports up there as well.
Great.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, if people have concerns about the school, the best thing they should do is bring them to the teacher and the principal first. And certainly if we post the plan, you know, they can definitely do it. But the school plans nest with the district plan. So that's the whole goal, is to go from big to, you know. So if they have concerns, certainly if they follow that chain of command. You know, I'm certainly happy to sit with anybody and talk about, you know, how it connects to our vision and connects to what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great, thanks.
Good question.
Do you have, the wellness committee meeting in the near future?
Yes, you know, we haven't had a meeting yet. And actually, you know, I'm proposing in the strategic plan that we not necessarily meet monthly. I think that it was hard to get people there monthly, but if we met 4 to 6 times and just
Quarterly or
something
something
like
like
that. So I think that the committee should meet in November. We definitely should.
Yeah,
'cause
in order
there
to
are
meet that 4 to 6
Yeah, yeah,
times, we should.
yeah. So, any
Alright.
questions, let me know.
All right, so let's keep it on for the next
Do that.
meeting so that everyone can read through it with the idea of now we understand the colors and how everything
Yeah, it
aligns.
definitely makes it
Yeah,
easier.
well, you know, I just did the colors so we could easily talk
Yeah.
about them. And if you like the color system, then what we could do is integrate that into the binder
Okay.
for the public
Great.
too.
All
Yeah.
right.
I know I'm visual, so the
Yeah.
colors make sense to me.
I like the colors, yeah, that's helpful.
Okay, subcommittee reports, budget and finance. Anything going on?
We have not met. We do have a meeting scheduled.
Yep.
Okay, are you guys gonna set, the 13, or have you're going to need to ask the committee for the, 13-14 school year budget goals? Did you already, I
We
can't
didn't
remember
do that
the
yet.
email.
We haven't done that.
So what you'll
Put that
wanna
on the
do
next agenda too.
is just send an email out to the committee saying, we're starting to strategize for the 13-14 budget planning. What are some of your goals? So it's something, any financial goal that you have that you want them to consider. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. But if you wanna figure out, well,
Yeah.
but I don't want people to think we don't have, they don't have,
Oh,
the
no,
committee
no.
doesn't have input into it.
No, that's one of the things you do
a
have.
dialogue and how the budget
Absolutely,
is
but if
developed.
you think you want to see, I can't even think of anything right now, but if you want to see a program implemented in one of the schools, or a new curriculum, or new textbooks purchased, this is your time to say to budget and finance, can we look at this, and this?
Really?
Yeah, well,
This is all caveated under, you understand that right now we have $400,000 to last us till the end of the year. So our budget is very lean.
You were speaking theoretically.
We're speaking, like, it would be great
In
if
terms
we
of the
could do
process.
this. And so when you go through the process, they're gonna look at the budgets that come through from the administrators. They're gonna look at the committee members' issues, concerns, questions, and they're gonna balance all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not usually the case that somebody would say to me, we need a new math curriculum. The budget priorities the districts have had, the committee members have had in the past have been a little more generic, like, we need to make sure that,
Athletics are balanced.
Athletics balanced, or we have to make sure that, we keep class sizes, you know, in what we consider to be a reasonable range. You know, they were kind of general stuff like that. There usually aren't a ton. But it is important for the committee, as Ann said, and as Mike confirmed last night, to have input into the budget process, because ultimately you monitor that.
Right. So it's not, it's not your time for a wish list, but like, it's
Exactly.
we've committed to, for example, for
Sorry.
choice, we've committed to, only opening spots as space is available. So we want to if you feel strongly that we want to maintain that commitment, or go the other way. That's something that should be discussed and considered. So it's your time to do that. So that happens, and then you probably also want to talk about
Budget timeline.
the budget timeline.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's all going to play out this year. We're going to have a new chair of the FinCom.
Oh, there is?
There will be, but I don't know how and when that's going to happen. So they'll be.
Yeah, so we should.
Usually we
should
find out
ask
the
if they
review
know.
date from them and
Right.
back into that.
Yeah.
So we're going to, just all things for you to consider.
Okay.
Governance?
Pam, do you wanna take that since you do the notes? We just met this week.
It doesn't have to be specific,
Yeah,
just what.
we reviewed a
We
policy.
reviewed policies that-
Made an amendment
Yes.
to a
But you know,
policy.
there's two that I was thinking, we do have to have another meeting, because there's the public complaints policy that we really didn't finish, I don't think, and then there's the, there's one other that I remember thinking
We
about.
were also talking about
today.
confidentiality agreements.
Yeah, that's right, that's one we were talking about, which will come forward on the next agenda.
We also came up with a couple last night, and I can't remember what they are, but I wrote them down.
Okay.
Oh, I did
I'll
too.
forward them to you.
Oh, yeah, that we had
Just-
to look at again, that's
Yep.
right, you did, right,
BEDH is one,
yeah.
and I can't remember, there are two other ones
Yeah.
that we need to look at. I'll
Right.
forward them to you.
And,
Right.
and I'll think about the other one, cause I was thinking today, we didn't close that loop.
We didn't
Yeah.
set a next meeting, which I think we should do that before, when we leave.
I'm sure
Because
Laura would appreciate
we both have
that.
our calendars there, and then Laura can
Yeah.
help, so
Okay.
that way we can have it planned.
We should try to do that all the time for all the subcommittees.
Right.
Makes a big difference.
Yes, I agree, Rob.
Negotiating.
We're meeting
Well, we have,
Thursday.
we are trying,
Laura looks like she might need
John-
to interject.
Joe responded, with a date, and I think we were just checking
Tuesday.
it
Yeah.
with other people.
Right, isn't it Tuesday the 30th?
October
30th.
30th,
Yeah,
that's what I
next
remember.
Tuesday.
Yep, and,
Right.
yeah, Mike's coming too, yeah.
Yeah, and I apologize. I'm starting a new job on Monday. I don't know what my schedule is going to be like. So, as soon as I kind of get that dust settled.
So will
I'll have
Rob
a
be doing the Tuesday night as well as November 7th, which was the email that I got?
I believe
Confirmed the 7th, I was waiting to hear on the 30th, which is next week,
Oh,
which I
okay.
posted today.
Can you do Tuesday night,
What date was that, Tuesday?
the 30th?
I don't
The
know.
day after
I believe
the
we have an
town meeting, and then the
8:15
night
PR
before
meeting that
Halloween.
day.
We do have a
We do.
PR meeting
That's
on
the
that
day it is, yes.
I don't.
if it's
You'll
possible.
spend the day with us, it
If
sounds
it's
like.
possible, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you can only do one, and you could possibly do negotiating in place of PR, but I am telling you.
Yeah,
Um,
it is important
it's
to
a
do the
lot.
negotiations.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I know. I know.
What did you say, Laura?
It hasn't been posted, I didn't know about it, public relations, so it's not posted.
Wait a minute,
Oh,
let me just look and
okay.
see
So
where I
public
have it.
relations
We're
isn't
not
posted.
posted?
We're not posted?
October 30th?
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
just a minute here. When did you think it was, Pam?
October 30th?
Okay.
October 30th, yeah,
In the morning.
8:15.
Okay. Just let me check.
There's weather coming up too.
Yeah. Yeah. With the Barbie
the
just made a
town
good
meeting
point.
and-
I mean, with the weather.
With the, yeah, that probably wouldn't
I
be a
don't
good
even
time
know what's going to
anyway.
happen Monday or Tuesday.
Right.
So we need to do a little refiguring, it sounds like.
So, I'm a little confused.
6:30, Tuesday evening, the 30th,
Yep.
In Carol's office.
Yes,
And that's
For
for
negotiations.
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 Can you do that?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's not a hurricane.
Yeah. Provided we're not, pumping up the
In the
basement of
basements.
Pearlie.
And November 7th.
And
Laura
November
just said.
7th.
I have that down at 6 o'clock, negotiations.
Oh, is it 6?
Oh, they're going to be so happy.
And that both at Pearlie?
Yes.
Okay, I have it at 7, so it's at 6.
Okay. Public relations.
Well, actually, yes, we continue to discuss the website development, and we're making a lot of progress and having a lot of thoughts guided by, various thoughts that we've gathered from school committee members and Carol and and various different best practice websites that we have located. We're right now working on the headline drop-down content boxes. And that's the
Sounds
first,
technical.
the initial row of content boxes, and then it drops down in all kinds of, and a lot of different schools do it a lot of different ways. Of course, we are who we are, and we need those boxes to reflect our priorities and what's important to us. And the conversations seem to be going in a lot of different directions, so we were going to each come with written recommendations and then try to work it all out using that. And it's actually good that we have maybe a little more time to work on that, because it is a very serious, important matter, and we want to give it all the time it deserves.
That's right.
So is this going to be part of the school website? Like,
This is
how
the
does it?
I mean, as it says in the.
Is it like the district website that we all land on when
Yes.
you Google Georgetown Public
Yes.
Schools?
There's
I
actually
believe
a
in this
landing page.
accomplishment,
Okay.
the different school websites have made a lot of progress last year, and I've
Okay.
certainly noticed that. But this is, we're talking about the district website to which the school websites are
Oh, linked,
attached. So
yeah.
we're not, yeah.
Okay.
We actually did play with the color and the look of some of the school websites, not the content, but just to make it consistent.
Oh, that would be nice.
Related to this, who's got the ball for scheduling the next meeting?
For public relations.
Public relations. That goes with you, or that goes with us?
You like Tuesdays, so what about the Tuesday after November 30th?
November 30th?
October
October
30th.
30th, sorry.
It's gonna be the 7th. And negotiations are that night, but I won't.
Oh, November 7th?
Yep. Is that right?
So after
November 6th is a
After
Tuesday,
the
right?
7th?
Yeah, no, I lied. No, the 7th
That's
is.
election
The
day.
7th is Wednesday.
Oh, but that's
Yeah.
election day,
Election
November
day is
6th. so-
Tuesday. The 8th,
What about
the 9th.
the 9th?
I tell you,
Fridays
Fridays aren't bad for me
It's a
because
Friday?
people don't
Friday,
want meetings on
Yeah,
Friday.
okay,
In the
Friday the
morning.
9th at 8:15?
8:15.
Okay, well, we wanna check with
8:15.
Barry Belanger to
Yeah,
see
that-
if he can make that?
I'm sure he could come for part of it. We have a coffee upstairs. They have like Pearlie has coffees on Fridays, every other Friday. So it's a
We
kind
would
of a
be
nice
asking
culture
to use that.
gathering kind of thing. So, I mean, could we make it a little later? Could we make it like 8:30? Or
Okay.
even, 9 o'clock? I mean, something, I think Barry could.
What do you think about 9 o'clock?
Is that too late? I mean,
About 8:45?
Okay.
Okay,
9
so-
o'clock's all right.
all right, so
9
we'll
o'clock's all
figure
right?
that out, but it looks like maybe that
Okay.
date might work.
9 o'clock's fine.
November
Okay.
9th at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay, so we need to invite Barry.
Okay, not appropriately titled, but School Building Committee, which is not a subcommittee,
Yeah.
which is a town committee.
Right.
Rob, do you have anything to discuss?
Yeah, I think really good news, if people aren't already aware of it. The Finance Committee voted 6-0 in favor of the new school project, to support it. So that's huge.
Fantastic news.
That is.
It's fantastic news, and I think it's just a great message from people who are looking at finances really carefully. Just a reminder, so there's the town meeting, which is Monday, October 29th. There are 2 articles that we're going to be asked to vote on. One's for Pembroke and the other's for the middle high school, the feasibility study. They're both separate. That one's for $85,000. And then there's the follow-up where you go to the polls on election day, assuming we don't get blown out of here by the hurricane. That's on November 1. That's on Tuesday, November 6th. And I think for the town meeting, if the town meeting has a problem with the weather, with the bad weather, there was an email that went out from Mike Farrell, and there's a potential for that to get rescheduled, but it's not set in stone to, I think he put out a November 1st date, so there is that possibility for
There's a
rescheduling.
contingency.
There's a contingency.
How would that be announced? Does anybody
have
know?
no
Oh,
how
if we
that-
got on that code red, I bet.
I bet it would
On
be a
the-
reverse
on that,
911.
and I'm sure it would be, through the media outlets.
I just got a telephone call. It sounded like Chief Mulligan reminding me to go to town meeting and to vote on town meeting October 29th and to vote on November 6th.
Excellent.
I mean, I could be wrong. I thought it was him. But it was obviously a public service
Good.
announcement. Not sure where it came from.
Anything else, Rob, on school building?
I don't think so.
Can I just ask a question, just so I'm clear? Originally, we were saying that if one
No, it was
article
like- it
didn't
sounds like a public
pass,
service
then neither
announcement
did.
that everybody would get.
They both
Correct.
had
They
to.
both
So
have to.
that
Did we
is,
get
is that correct?
Correct.
They both have to pass.
Correct.
So if the feasibility study for Georgetown Middle High School does not pass, then both of them
Schools off the
are gone.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Good clarification. Alrighty, any other subcommittee reports that I missed? No? Okay. No old business. Now on to something we were all talking about earlier, the overwhelming donations that we once again get. So tonight we have, I don't believe any of these are confidential, I just like to make sure.
And you do have two
Yep.
additional ones in on your
Oh,
table.
yeah, that's right.
remember?
So we have, We have, Target gift cards, that were received by the Pembroke School, and they were from the Facebook campaign, asking people to like them or do something, and that it generated
That's great.
two $125 gift cards, as well as two $125 gift cards and three $75 gift cards. So, how are we doing that?
Do you wanna do them separately?
Yeah, we have
One
to
is
do
for
them
Pembroke,
separately,
one is
okay.
Pearlie, and one is for middle high school.
Alright, so, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the Target gift cards in the amount of $200 from the Facebook campaign with Pembroke families for the Pembroke School, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Further discussion? Oh, not further discussion, sorry. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the acceptance of the Pearlie Target donation. The chair will entertain a motion to accept two Target gift card donations for $125 in total as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, no further discussion. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the Target gift cards, for the Georgetown, middle high school, in the amount of $75 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I was reading the dollar amount, and it says.
I was doing the same.
Okay,
Yeah,
it says
same.
package total, yeah, and then I noticed
Yeah.
the card value
Yeah.
was different, that's why I was
It
confused.
must be in 25 increments.
Yeah. All right, next up is the second reading of, oh, you know what, I'm sorry about, I'm being a little disjointed here. We have two other donations that were, put at your places, tonight. So we have a donation to the Pembroke School, and it's not confidential, is that correct?
Which one are you doing?
Donatana?
This one?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one.
You know, I
Should we
think we
table
should
this
just-
to the next meeting to accept, because I wanna
well, I
make
think they wanna order the smart board. They need, I think you could say.
Well, we'll accept the
You can accept
donation,
the
we're gonna accept it anonymously. If in fact we can announce the, donors, we'll announce it at the next meeting.
Okay.
So the chair will entertain a motion to accept the donation, made by two very generous donors for the purchase of a smart board at the Pembroke School as presented.
For $4,000.
For $4,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
We're very, very grateful.
Thank you
Thank you. You're very
immensely.
generous.
There will be two classrooms that do not have smart boards at Pembroke.
Well,
Wow.
that's great.
And I'm gonna say most of them were donated.
Most of them were donated.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sure.
and you know, and some
Yeah.
were from GEF and PTA, but
Right,
then others
but-
were donated from private.
But still all
Majority of
donated,
them,
yeah.
Majority,
Yeah.
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 Two, I
From the
think, parent
community,
donation,
yeah.
which is great.
Quite amazing.
Fabulous.
Really is.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Laura and Carol, if you can find out if we can announce the families that donated
Yes,
these.
we will
At
do
the
that.
next meeting, we'll do that. Okay. I just don't wanna announce it if
No.
they don't want
didn't
people to
that.
know.
Anonymous, of course.
The chair will entertain a motion to accept the PTA donation to the third grade Pembroke trip to Plymouth Plantation for $700 as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Once again, the PTA is extremely generous to us,
Oh.
and so tonight we accepted over $5,000 worth of donations.
Wow.
And I can't remember what we accepted last week, but it was close to 10.
That
So
is amazing.
we should be,
Oh, with the
We should
computers
actually
and
total
everything.
that. I think it would be
it's
very
a
interesting
very impressive
information.
number, and to the public, we're extremely grateful for all that you do for us.
Yes.
All right, now moving along to the second reading of policy KLL, which is relations with nonprofit entities. Carol gave you the genesis of this policy. It was from a parent that was concerned that we were using school time to benefit a private entity. So we researched this, went to the State Ethics Commission to get a ruling from them, and that was not clear for some time. So we were finally able to go through our attorney, state ethics, and come up with the policy that's before you tonight. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve this as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the first reading of ACEA, which is discrimination, harassment. And this was brought up through our negotiations with the teachers. They wanted to have some specific language regarding discrimination and harassment that could be referenced through the contract.
Right, we already have in the policy manual a sexual harassment policy, but this doesn't really, this is different, so.
This is-
Yeah,
yeah.
so and many districts actually have a separate discrimination harassment policy, so, that's.
This isn't unusual to have this.
This
in
isn't
our manual.
unusual, no.
Right. So, this is the first reading, so we don't have to do anything other than read it and acknowledge it. Next up is the updated homeschool list approval. So this lists all the students that are being homeschooled and how they're being evaluated and what type of instruction they're having, a number of hours in curriculum. So the chair will entertain a motion to approve the updated list of homeschool families for 2012 to 2013 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Just a couple little housekeeping items. We have the music parents auction, which is November 2nd at the Black Swan. I believe it starts at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's a great fundraiser for the music program, so I encourage everyone to attend if they can. I think this is usually a pretty fun evening as well.
It is, yes.
We have, let's see, town meeting is Monday night, October 29th at 7 o'clock at the Georgetown Middle High School. Then-
Babysitting is available, right?
I was gonna say, is babysitting,
Yes.
babysitting will be
babysitting.
available.
And the cafeteria will be set up in case there's a significant crowd.
Right.
So where will they put the kids? Where will they do
Gym.
the
The gym.
babysitting? The gym
They
they
use
use?
the gyms.
You're gonna be doing
Are
that?
you helping
I
with
think
that?
I think the student should ask student council to take care of that.
Yes, I think student council, yes, is taking care of it, which is great.
So that's Monday night at 7 o'clock, town meeting, and then the election, which includes any of the warrant articles from town meeting, as well as our own national election, is November 6th.
Please vote.
Yes, please remember to vote.
Yes.
Do we need executive session? I
don't think
don't
so.
believe we do. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I am hopeful